It's like, let me throw on some eyeliner real quick and a little lip gloss.
Hit my little eyebrows and put on my red lipstick. I be feeling fancy when I do that. All right, we live. We'll give you folks an opportunity to come on in. My little music was acting funky. I was going to play some music for them, but that's okay. They can check out our smiling faces. Give them the opportunity to come on in. I am extremely excited about today, about our topic and our amazing guest. Right? And as we have individuals come in and join us on this live today, I do want to thank everyone who liked, share, and are here to support as I have been doing. As I'm preparing to do this longly put off and procrastinated series where we are going to touch base with special guests to talk about how we can close the gaps, guys. We definitely need to close the gaps, and because we are in a place doesn't mean we have to stay in a place. So join me each and every Sunday at 7 p.m. where we will talk about closing the gap. I'm extremely excited about today because today is not only the first day of the series, but today I have an amazing guest joining us. This girl, she is all over Facebook. She's all over social media. And I am starting to feel like there is not a person that I don't come across that doesn't know her. She considers herself the wealth builder. Came across her on Instagram and we connected over tips about sharing wealth and how we can all take our lives to the next level. So in today's series, guys, we're going to talk about the thing that we both have in common. We both joined an industry that gave us the opportunity to change our lives. And today we're going to talk about how saying yes can change your life. Again, just because we have a situation or a circumstance sitting in our place doesn't mean we have to remain in that place, but it is all about the decisions that we take. And so tonight, I want to introduce to you guys and bring up my special guest. We're talking wealth builder. We're talking about insurance broker. We're talking about real estate. The girl wears a whole bunch of hats, but most importantly, she has a whole bunch of knowledge. I have Miss Jamisha joining us tonight. And Jamisha, I'm really excited about this interview and to have you here. So thank you for being willing to jump on and be a part of my premiere on tonight.
Absolutely. Like I said yes, right? I even said yes.
You
Thank
said
you so
yes.
much for having me.
You're welcome. So, I've been reading your website, all of this stuff, but I wanted to not go too much into your story because I wanted you to tell people about you. So, can we just start off with you giving us a little bit of background about you? You know, who are you? What does wealth building mean? Let's start there.
Sure. So I'll still say I'm young. I'm a young woman from the west side of Chicago, right? Definitely. So I came from a two-parent household, was exposed to some different things, but my father, so father, blue collar worker, both of my parents graduated from high school. They didn't go to college. So my dad he'll be like 72 this year. So that whole go to school, get a good education, and this is going to be success, right? Plenty of times my dad has said, you're supposed to be my 401k plan. So they bought into that system. Nothing wrong with it, right? I have a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, but never really felt like I wanted to be an employee, but really couldn't figure out how to be a successful entrepreneur either. So I found myself in my 20s surrounded by entrepreneurs, and I'm like, I'm around these people for a reason. It's gonna click for me, right? Eventually it'll click for me. My first job out of college, the company closed due to bankruptcy. So I have this job, I'm getting promoted. Now I'm unemployed, right? Been let go from jobs before, and now fast forwarding, because this has been at least 18 years. My very last job, I have been unemployed for a couple years, and I was like, I'm going to do this work from home thing. Didn't really have a work ethic, right? I'll show up for my 9 to 5 on time, take lunch like they tell me, and leave. a lot of us will start businesses, and now I want to wake up when I want and do what I want. So I ended up back looking for a job. You know, that wasn't successful. But my last job, the environment started off well. And it was just like, this isn't what I want to do, right? So I started taking real estate courses in 2017, early in 2017, online, self-paced. But we get comfortable, right? We have this comfort zone. So I'm in my comfort zone. I ended up being let go from that job, and it clicked. Get it together, right?
Yeah.
So I studied for the test. I was let go in August, September, passed my real estate exam, became a realtor in October 2017. Haven't worked for anybody since, and I have been working my behind off for myself, right? Everything I didn't do right before, corrected. Still not doing everything right now.
Who does?
Journey and a process. And I needed a little fire. I'm one of those people, which I'm trying to get out of this. It's got to hurt first, right? I don't know if people can relate to that. Like, it's got to hurt before I do what I knew I was supposed to do to begin with. Like,
right.
Oh, you're going to let me go. Okay. So, yeah.
You know what? I appreciate the transparency. I love everything that you said, because sometimes when you're talking to people and you're telling them that, you know what, there's a different way, and you can live different, you can get different. One of the first things that people say is where they're from, right? Or what their background is, or whatever the case may be. And so you started with, listen, I get mad when people say it, right? But I'm a girl raised on the West Side too, right? You know, people not from Chicago, they don't get it. First thing the South Side to say, oh, you're from the West Side. What's that mean? But anyway, being able to say, I grew up on the West Side, you know, I grew up on the West Side in a single parent home. We all have a story of where we come from, but it is about learning. Now, I did shake my head like, when you said, I got to bump my head, I got to learn it the hard way. I think that, and this is my opinion, you know, I think that a lot of reasons why we see so many people struggling, right? One of the reasons we're here, and one of the topics that I want to talk about, obviously, is wealth, the gap in wealth, right? How our people aren't improving, we aren't growing, etc. But one of the things that I believe, in my opinion, is an issue is everybody has to bump their head first, right? They got to do it the hard way. They got to see that it doesn't work first. When you have people in front of you saying, if you touch the stove, your hand is going to be burnt. Don't do that. Thankfully for you, you had a contingency plan. Well, they let you go from that job, but you were already working on your real estate. When some of us get very complacent, we go out, we get jobs, and by all means, we say we made it, and we're not even really honest with ourselves about that, right? But we made it, and it kind of creates a layer of maybe not laziness, but laziness. Like, you go to work, you go to lunch when they tell you to, you know, but that's it. And you don't take the chance to say, or the thought to say, these people were to let me go, or if they were to close because of bankruptcy, what would I do? Right. And so you started in real estate, but that is not where the story ends for you. So after real estate, what happens? Tell us about that.
So after real estate, started off in real estate, I want to say in 2018, another individual in real estate whom ironically we connected on Facebook, but we do have mutual friends. She approached me about the insurance business. And at that time, I was really upfront with her. I said, I need to figure out who I am as a realtor. Some people, and this ties to people that do multiple things. I'm like, I don't want to have brand confusion, right? One, I need to solidify myself as a real estate agent. When people think about me, they think real estate instead of like, hey, I do this and I do that and all of these different things. Let me focus on this first. So she followed up with me though. She followed up with me. She drips on me. And in 2019, I finally said yes to her. Like, you know what? Let me try this out. Why it made sense for me, it fits into that wealth creation brand. So,
Mhm.
life insurance, health insurance, different types of insurance are the foundation of any wealth pyramid. And a lot of us are building our financial home from the top down instead of from the bottom up. So people will start with stocks, they'll buy real estate, they'll do everything. It's like, oh, I need life insurance? Like, yes, right? And it's something that everybody needs because there's only one way out of here. So in 2019, I said yes to her. Her question was, let me show you how to make money in between closings. Let me show you how to add value to your current client base. So it made sense. And then being, again, the wealth creator, I've done conferences, didn't do one in 2020, clearly with COVID, but I've always had life insurance professionals and different people come out. I grew up in a home where we had life insurance. I had
Mhm.
my own policy when I was 21. So I understood, I was aware, so it made sense. It made sense to add it to what I do.
Okay. Okay. And for you, you got started because life insurance made sense to start what you do. It goes along with what you do, adds value to your clients. But you also said yes to something that a lot of people may say no to, right? Was there a part of you that said, this is network marketing? This is a different sort of industry that I know nothing about. And so is that one of the reasons why originally you said no?
So, no, actually, I started in network marketing at 21 years old in college with ACN, right?
Okay.
I said yes to the business. The business did not work for me because I didn't work the business properly, right? May not believe this, I'm a complete introvert. Like, I'm not at parties. However, in 2014, 15, I went to a workshop and there was a woman there and she said something that stood out to me. If you're on the internet and you're not making money, you shouldn't be on the internet. That was number one. Then someone else said the money that you seek is in the hands of people you haven't talked to yet. So I'm like, this introvert thing is not going to work for me on a success basis. So originally, I didn't say no because of the network marketing part of it. However, even in saying yes to the business, did I work the business like I should have starting out? No. So it's like we'll say yes, but then you're straddling the fence half in, half out. I see it working for other people. I see other people working the system, but there's still some things that I have to work on with myself. But network marketing, I thought about it like this, Sharonda, right? Real estate, and people don't think about this. Real estate has a network, it has a multi-level marketing structure. I become an agent, I have to work under a managing broker. I have to. I have no choice. So every sale that I make, my managing broker gets a split or I'm paying a fee or whatever. We see these $1 million real estate agents out here, even if you've ever watched $1 million listing, a team of people in their office that are working under them. That every time they make a sale, the person at the top or however that chain goes also makes money. Once I thought about it like that, it took the stigma away for me because I'm like, most things I'll never make at a job more than my supervisor, more than their supervisor, more than the CEO. Like I don't have that ability. But in some of these most high level marketing, the business I'm in, I can make more than the person who brought me into the business. I can make more than anybody if I work hard enough, right? Not just
Yes.
riding on my. So
You
yeah.
you are dropping nuggets. You're dropping nuggets, and that's why I wanted you here, right? You're dropping nuggets because people say It's a pyramid, or they're riding on your back, or someone said to me something along the lines of basically all the people at the top make the money and all the little people at the bottom do the work. And I say, here's a challenge for you. So at your job, how many CEOs are there? Right? And then you got the CEO at the top, and then under them, you got the COOs and the CFOs. How many of them are there? But then how many line managers, regional managers as a whole, you know what I mean? And then underneath them, how many of us, the worker bees, there are? And the reality is, if you're the worker bee, you never going up there. Versus in this, if you're someone who says yes to an opportunity, it's an opportunity for you. It doesn't matter that I started the business before you started the business. You can come in this business and be like, girl, I got this, and pass me up. And I'm like, okay, I got to come catch up, And, but it's a stigma that I believe that it's a stigma. Number one, let's just be honest. Like you said, you did it before and you didn't put work into it. And so a lot of people want the easy way. They want to find the easy way. And this is just not easy. It's not easy, but it's definitely lucrative. It's definitely something that can change lives, but it's not easy. And so I believe that we were taught, like you said, we've all been taught it. You go to school, and I'm talking about if you don't get good grades, they beating your butt, you getting threatened to be put out the house. All these stories, you gotta go get good grades so you can go be accepted into some amazing college, so you can get a degree and you've made it. But somewhere along the lines, somebody forgot to say to us, nobody really builds wealth with just one stream of income. Somewhere along the line, no one talked about these multiple streams, and they talk about network marketing in college now. They talk about it. There's a course in Harvard about this stuff now, but they didn't talk about it then. So when you talk to somebody about it now, it's like you telling them Casper is really a real person. So tell me your testimony. Tell me some of the things that have changed in your life, or how your life has been enhanced, because the second time around I said yes. What have been some benefits of saying yes for
you? Benefits of saying yes the second time around: growing as a woman, growing as a businesswoman. The business that I'm a part of, we read like a book of the month. There's a lot of personal development that they pour into, because understanding that things start with the mindset, right? So my mindset towards myself, my business, whatever I have going on, is going to impact how I show up in business. Now, the flip side of that is, in this business, because, and you've probably seen this too, oh girl, this happened with my husband, my kids, and this, so I couldn't make it, or I didn't show up for myself in business. But we show up for work. I'm gonna be at work. I'm gonna be at work. If you tell me and I have a human resources background. If you only tell me I get 3 days because my cousin, daddy, brother passed away, I'm gonna be back at work, right? So showing up for my business, growing as a woman in that way, and growing into leadership, because network marketing, I recruit, right? So I'm building a team. I'm managing. The goal is to lead, but starting out, there's some management involved because people still have an employee mindset. So I'm growing a team. I'm growing as a leader, how to lead people, how to be objective when I'm talking to people, but most importantly, how to show up for myself no matter what, because how much I make, I determine my income, right? So the work that I put in today is going to pay off tomorrow or down the line. If I don't show up today, it's not going to happen. So for me, my story is really, one, showing up, two, embracing the fact that I'm an introvert, but also understanding I need to display some extrovert qualities sometimes, right? Because we'll hear people say, well, this is just how I am. I don't like to talk to people. I don't do well doing this, that, or the other. That's great. But how is that working for you. I can still be who I am. I am Jamesia Joe May. Anybody that has known me since I was a little girl, of course I've grown, but the essence core of me, I'm me. However, that's not going to get me to where I want to be. So I need to incorporate some things that are going to get me there, right? So that would be my biggest testimony. Like, I'm still an introvert. I'm still me. I prefer to be at home by myself. But unless I figure out a way to make money just like that, it's not going to benefit me. So growing and being able to show up and interact with people.
That is good. That is good. I tell people that I'm an introvert, but they don't buy it. They don't believe it. I guess it's really one of those things, like, I can really be in the house and be completely okay with it and not, at maybe at the 5th month after COVID, I was like, okay, I need to see people. But otherwise, I made it 5 months before I decided I needed to see people. But you dropped some really good nuggets with that, where you talked about, personal development and growing as a person. And it's being willing to embrace change. It's being willing to be the better person than you were yesterday, because it's exactly what you just said. We have these conversations with people, or someone is thinking about doing it. It's the decision to say yes, but it's the decision to say something yes to something new, right? And most people see it and they instantly go into, well, I don't have a Facebook page, or I don't really talk to people, or I don't really. Well, I'm going to say this to you. Prior to starting this conversation, you talked about how bad you hated your job, or how you needed to earn additional money because you needed to pay your car note. You talked about all of these things, but then when you're presented with something that can do exactly this, you go into all of the things that you're not. And I think that it's being willing to accept and understand that being the exact same person that you are today is going to keep you in the same exact place that you're in today. And if you don't grow, okay, well, if you don't like to talk to people, just continue to not talk to people, but show me any business where you don't talk. Because even if you go to you have people that are introverts, and you go to work and it's a customer service job, you turn it off to answer the phone, don't you? You know what I mean? And so it's definitely something that people need to look at and address. And I believe that we've talked about some of the main reasons why most people don't say yes to something different, right? They just weren't taught to. We taught to go to school. People want to just remain the same. What do you believe is another reason, if we haven't touched it, where people see something different and say, nope, not for me, can't do it?
I think one of the biggest things for individuals, though, is that we didn't talk about is fear. Because I'll have people say, well, I don't know how to do this, or I don't know how to sell. I don't know anything about insurance. I didn't know anything about HR until I went to school and took the classes and took the test and learned. And then I got a job. And once I got the job, they trained me on the job and I learned as I went, right? But you said it's change for some people, but it's fear of the unknown, right? I don't know what's going to happen. But so it's like that. It's that story about the old man on the porch and the dog is laying on the nail, and a man walks by every day and the dog is crying. And one day a man walking by asked the guy on the porch, he's like, why don't you help the dog? And he's like, when he gets tired, he'll figure out that he can get up, right? Because we also talked about before we started creating wealth and multiple streams of income. And it's easy to say, don't get me wrong, I do not negate systemic racism and the things that happen. My name is Jamesia Hawk. I've been overlooked for jobs just because of my name. I get it, right? But when we completely dismiss an opportunity and don't give the opportunity a chance because we're afraid of what our family and friends are going to say, how they're going to judge us. If I have to talk to people and do this or do that. It's a fear. Some people fear failure, some people fear success. And just overcoming that, but trying to figure out where it came from to begin with. And a lot of it sometimes stems from our childhood. I touched on this with one of my lives, and it's like, no, don't try that. Mama afraid for you. You can't do this. You can't do that. So many of us have been programmed what we can't do, what we shouldn't try. Well, even when I bought my first building, my father was like, well, I know people that have a building and, you know, their tenants didn't pay their rent, all of these horror stories. I said, Dad, but real estate isn't going anywhere. And there are multimillionaires who have owned real estate. I'm going to follow the success stories. Because one thing my friend tried that and it didn't work for them. I have friends that went to college and didn't graduate.
Does that mean you're not supposed to go to college?
Go, right? And it's like getting to what is the real reason. And a part of it, right, people don't even graduate from high school. Like anything out here that exists, I can tell you somebody that tried it, you know, and it did not work. But I can also show you people that tried it and it worked for them. So it's like, show up. And don't be afraid. And go. There's a book, Fail Forward. Don't ask me who the author is. Me being what I've noticed in marketing, and let me know if you noticed this too. Some of the smartest people that were the best students that got the best grades struggle in this business because they think I'm just gonna read this book and it's gonna work. And some of the most creative, I barely paid attention in school. Not to say that smart people can't get it, but a lot of people who got the good grades because they've never failed a test. They've always gotten good grades. It's like most, you didn't have to work that hard. So to come into a business where I might fail, someone may tell me no, I might be rejected. It's like, I don't know if I want to do that because a lot of us were taught failure isn't an option when failure is an option, right? Failure is an option. It took Albert Einstein 10,000 times before he got the light bulb right. When your child learns how to walk, the first time they fall, you don't say, oh, this isn't going to work for you. No, get back up and keep trying until you start wobbling and figure it out. And when we started walking, it wasn't if you have a model strut now, you didn't look like that when you were 1 year old. Give yourself an opportunity to grow, fail, and keep trying.
That's good. That's good. You know, for people who follow sports, you know, they have the one quote where they talk about Michael Jordan and how many shots he missed, or, you know, Kobe and how intense he was with training. But you have to fail to even know, you know, where your weaknesses are to be able to improve. But, you know, not necessarily shifting gears, because people don't look at this as a business. They don't understand that you are truly in business for yourself, and allowing you to create wealth for yourself is by working for yourself. We punch a clock every day, and that clock that we punch was somebody's dream. And we go to work every day and we punch the clock for the person who thought to create this company, and their children, and their children, right? They're all set. They don't have to. And this leads me to what I wanted to talk about with you. They are able to pass on generational wealth where their children don't have to pay for college, right? Or I was reading an article the other day, and the article was talking about generational, the wealth gap. And they were talking about some of the reasons why the gap exists and why it continues to exist. But with a lot of the wealthy or a lot of other individuals, basically, they have businesses. They have multiple streams of income. They have all of these things where they are leaving something behind for their children. So then when their children come up, they're not starting from zero and trying to figure it out. They have, as people like to say, they have old money, right? But then they now have a business and they're entrepreneurs, and now they have even more money to add to this wealth to pass on to their children. And we have a saying that says you can't take the money with you when you die. Completely. What, here's the thing, it's like we went through it. Like you said, I had to bump my head, but because I bumped my head, shouldn't I look out for my daughter, for my son, for my granddaughter, because I know what it's like out here, right? I had to take out student loans, but that doesn't mean that the person who comes after me has to do it. And it's a, if it's not network marketing because you're fearful, you can't take a no, you can't, do any of these things, but you take no's all the time when you fill out job applications, because how many of those joints do you fill out before somebody actually hires you? Or how many interviews do you go on before that person accepts you? We can take those no's, but we can't take the no's that actually improve and build our bottom line, and so I say to people, if not this business, create yourself a business. You talk a lot about generational wealth on your page. You talk about making money and multiple streams of income. So can you tell me, what are your thoughts on this generational gap, and what are things that you believe that people can do? Is the solution starting a business, joining network marketing? Tell me your thoughts on it.
Literally, the solution is entrepreneurship, sales, and life insurance. And not saying that because I'm an agent, I can definitely quantify that without saying, has nothing to do with me being licensed, just full disclosure. But those are the solutions, right? So we talk about, or people talk about, Amazon, they're not paying taxes, and Donald Trump, he's few people's favorite, but he won't show his tax returns, right? Tax laws favor business owners and homeowners, right? Tax laws favor business owners and homeowners. The biggest tax write-offs for an individual on their tax returns is going to be the interest that they paid on their mortgage, right? You also I have a book, it's called How to Lower Your Taxes. The book literally starts off, it was written by a CPA that worked for the IRS. If you do not have a small base business, you are missing out on tax advantages. A lot of us feel like paying taxes, that's the American way. No, it's called tax avoidance, not tax evasion. You want to pay your fair share. You don't want to write everything off if you want to get loans and buy property, but understanding the money game is different. So there's a book, What Would the Rockefellers Do? And that's why I mentioned the life insurance. The Rockefeller family has been overfunding permanent life insurance policies for the last 100 years. There's a reason for that. A lot of times when we're getting advice, it's like, Mom, I just heard about this network marketing business. Should I do it? Oh no, baby, that's a scam. No offense. Your mama has never started a business, never thought about starting a business. How does your mama know, your mama, daddy, or whoever? You're talking to people who have never even thought about pursuing a dream or something different about an opportunity they know nothing about. That's like me going to someone who's never owned a home, asking them, well, what do you think about home ownership? Now, some people may say, I agree, don't get me wrong, but entrepreneurship, it doesn't have to be network marketing, having some sort of small based incorporated business, one, to actually bring in income, but also for the tax benefits. In sales, you cannot get around it. I don't care if you bake cookies, cakes, pies, have lashes, do hair, marketing, sales, advertising, branding, if you want to be successful. And then going back to that foundation, a lot of us, right, we see GoFundMes. So if grandmother dies or cousin, uncle, and they have enough to pay off their debt, pay for their burial, and leave some money behind, if it's 25, 50, $75,000, we haven't started from zero, like you mentioned, right? But I talked to so many people, we had to do a GoFundMe, we had to borrow, we had to scrape together. So somebody is leaving me debt when they die, extra bills that I can't afford to pay. So the solutions, and a lot of people think it's education. And I don't know if you read the Prosperity Now about the road to zero wealth. It's easier for a white man with a high school education to get a job than a black man with a bachelor's degree. I'm not saying don't go to school and get a degree. That's not what I'm saying. Being in real estate, though, student loans keep a lot of people from buying real estate. So we're going to school, we're getting the education, but now we're not able to buy the homes that help us build equity, that help us build wealth, right? So it's like, it's a cycle being created, and we're stuck in our job. So we're getting up at 6 or 7, we're working this 9 to 5, we're driving in traffic. By the time I get home, I'm so burnt out. I'm not even thinking about, I'm turning on the TV. It's a poverty cycle. I worked for Black Entertainment Television, president of media sales. He said, I have 6 TVs in my house and I don't watch any of them. And I thought to myself, this man has more money than me. Not saying you can't make money and watch TV. That's not what I'm saying. But we're perpetuating a cycle. And a lot of the clues to start, right? Will we close the gap? No. Can we get it started? Yes. Do we want to? No. Because it's like, well, so many people, I'm good. I make $20 an hour. I'm good. Okay. Cool. You know?
You made it. Listen, as you're saying these things, right? I roll my eyes because you're saying, oh, hit the nail on the head. And I think that because we're in the same industry, a lot of stuff we hear, I know that you're not talking about insurance as being a foundation because you're an agent. I understand. And a lot of people don't understand, we go out, we get life insurance policies, and then those insurance policies are just enough to bury you. Right? When how everybody else uses life insurance is actually leaving you money behind, right? How everybody else uses life insurance is they're getting different sort of policies and you can take money out against them and they're sending people to school with them. And we just know about I got a $10,000 life insurance policy, go figure it out. And that's it. And it's because of not taking this down the lane of insurance, but it's because of not wanting to pay monthly. We see things, right? Like everybody knows it. I'm in credit, and you can have bad credit, and you look at the cost to fix your credit and say, it costs how much? But I want you to take a step back and tell me something. What is your interest rate on your car? How much extra are you paying on that car? How much are you paying on your car insurance? How much are you? And they're not thinking that way. And so in the long run, you're paying way more money to pay for these things with bad credit, or you pay for insurance, but you gain way more money. But it's about living in the right now. You're living in the right now, hence you can't take the money with you. We live in the right now that doesn't allow us to think about later so that we can start to close the gap, because it won't just start with this one generation, but it has to happen. We have to start a new cycle of this is how you are supposed to do it. And ultimately it does change. Everything that you said, we relate to. I had my mom tell me not to buy investment property for the same thing that your dad said, and she's told it to me several times. I haven't even tried. She knows about network marketing. Maybe she does. We talked about it, and I have not tried to explain it to her, and I'm not going to. She just knows about the business. She calls it, and that's what because it's something that It's exactly what you're saying. And we don't have to just talk about our parents. So when you're positioned with network marketing, someone invited you to this information, they showed you this information, and you have a decision to say yes. And you go, forget mom, forget parents. You go to your best friend Sheila or your cousin George, and you say whatever, and they be like, let me tell you, you shouldn't, blah, 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 blah. But what is it that George is doing that makes him the expert at what you should not be doing? You know?
Yeah.
And so instead of us taking a step and saying, I can make independent decisions on my own, we want other people to validate us. And it is through their validation that we are able to say, yes, I can do this. It is through their validation that, think about it, we don't really like to hear no. A lot of people say exactly what you said. I'm not good at sales. Here's the thing, most of us know some of the richest people are in sales. And then the first thing we say is, I'm not good at sales. Well, baby, give me a book, show me how. I guess I got to figure this out. I don't know, because otherwise we're constantly in this circle. So when I was positioned to whether or not I needed to say yes, this was why I said yes. Number one, I needed help with my credit. But number two, I said yes because I blow that in Target easy. I can start my own business for that. Why not? And so we need to say yes for the ability of the door that can be opened by simply investing into something. You know, we're going into the 742 mark, but I definitely want you to touch that topic, how people need to understand investing and how that puts something out. Because why do I need to pay money for a job? It's not what that is. Investing is something totally different. We go buy all of this stuff that brings nothing to us, but we don't invest. So as we're going into closing out, talk about, because you talk about investing all the time too, talk about why you start a business, what it really means to invest, and how making that decision changes their life.
Absolutely. So, starting a business, right? Because people say, well, why do I have to pay to start this business? So, let me really quickly equate it to this. My very last job, I started on February 17th, 2014. I'll never forget. I didn't get my first paycheck for 4 weeks. For 4 weeks, I drove to work. I put gas in my car. I ate. I bought new clothes. So, I spent money, right? Any job that you start, you're waiting a week, 2 or 3 weeks to get paid, but you're going to work, you're getting to work, so you're investing money before your paycheck comes, right? Those who may or may not follow Robert Kiyosaki, and it's like you're investing in yourself. For me, it was $199. I can spend $200 a month on anything, but I'm also, it's a tax write-off, right? If I structure it properly, but understanding that it is a business. There's no business out here that you can start without putting any capital or money into it. Even if I decide I'm going to bake cakes in my house, before I sell a cake, or even if I sell a cake, I got to go buy the cake mix, the eggs, the milk. I'm investing in baking cakes, making cookies, right? But it's people shifting their mindset to even understand it's no different. If I decide to, I can't think of the lady's name that made the twistable mops and all of that. She had to make the product before she even tried to pitch it to somebody. So anything is an investment. That's like a no-brainer. If my kid wants to sell lemonade, I have to go buy the lemons, get the sugar. You're investing, you're spending money to start any type of business, to sell any type of product, even to offer a service, to get a website or whatever. So don't look at it like it's an investment like any business. I don't know any business that someone can just start with nothing.
I mean, nothing. People want to open boutiques. You got to go buy the inventory. You know, whatever the case may be, I just believe that we turn our heads to most opportunities because it's not dressed up in the way that we believe that they should be dressed up in. We turn our heads away because there's an investment. When we go out to eat, when we buy this, when we buy, I'm transparent and everybody knows I am a Target junkie. I'm honest with myself. But if I can give Target money that will never come back to me, I need to be able to invest in me. Right. And so I am definitely grateful that you joined me
And you
today,
picked it
girl.
because you really weren't thinking about buying.
Right. You just buy, you look in a cart like, what is this? What about all this stuff? But I definitely appreciate you joining me. As I said, when you go live on your page, the stuff that you talk about, right? Extremely knowledgeable. You know, you're talking about reading books, and I couldn't be happier to have you on because you delivered so much. You said something key, money aside, personal development. Your decision to say yes has allowed Jamisha to be the person she is today, right? Reading books, a much, much better person for her own children. I think you just have a son. I'm not really sure, but it's the ability to take us to new heights. And so I appreciate you sharing this information. For those that are out there watching, I hope that you heard what was shared today. If an opportunity comes and it knocks at your door for you to make a decision to do something different than what you're doing, make the decision, because the worst that can happen is that you were in the same exact place you are today. But what if that thing takes you into a much better future than where you were? Right? Yes, can give you the opportunity to change whatever circumstance that you're in. I'm grateful for each and every one of you joining me on tonight. I hope that you gained something from both of us, especially Miss Jamisha, the lovely, beautiful Miss Jamisha. Guys, we have to start looking and changing our mindset. Stay on every Sunday. We are here 7 p.m. Join me on this journey as we become empowered to be greater and at our best. You guys all have an amazing evening, and God bless you all.
Thank you so much.